Welcome to Dynasty Playbook, just about the only fantasy football podcast out there that rarely talks about fantasy football. I'm your host, Drew. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDotsonNFL. With me is my co-host, as always, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBallMyDP. It's been probably about almost 2 weeks, but how you been?
Doing great, dude. I'm on cloud nine right now, and you can't knock me off because my AC has been out since like Monday night, and it just got fixed. So I'm coming back to join the living. Stoked.
Dude, I say I couldn't imagine, but I absolutely can't imagine because it's happened to me. But dude, like 90 degrees in the middle of summer, 100 degrees in the middle of summer with no AC. There isn't much on earth that makes you want to kill yourself more than that.
So miserable, and I am naturally hot. You know what I mean? Like even in the wintertime, if it gets up to like 70, 75, I'm turning the AC on. So when it's 95 and I don't have any AC, I'm a miserable bastard, even more than usual. So doing good today.
That's good. I'll tell you though. I mean, I had my AC go out last semester. I had my AC go out last summer, right around the time the preseason rolled around, so middle of August. And I swear to you, it was worse than any day I experienced in Afghanistan, and we melted a digital thermometer there. So that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, for sure.
But with that, let's talk about some actual football. We've got a little bit of news to cover, but not a whole lot. Gio Bernard got a brand new contract, 3 years, $15 million, which is a pretty nice deal for the Bengals, to be honest. I mean, they've been doing pretty good with their contracts lately. And it's interesting to see with Gio because we were kind of hoping he'd go somewhere else and be productive. But I think that just means we got another year to wait until Hill goes away.
I don't even know if it matters. Gio, I mean, even with Hill, there sure his ceiling is capped, but he was exactly the kind of PPR back that you and I like, and now his price has really come down. I mean, at one point, he was a top 15 startup pick, and now he's probably not even going in the top 20 running backs. So I like him a hell of a lot more than, a low-end RB2, but him re-signing just shows that the Bengals have some confidence and exactly the kind of guy I want on my roster, especially at a good price, which he is now.
Yeah. Sorry, my dogs are fighting behind me and pissing me off. I was actually looking through my 2014 rankings not that long ago, and actually it's probably yesterday. And I think I had Gio as like my RB3 because there was just nobody back then. I mean, this was back when Shady was the RB1, and he was old. And we feel about old people. And he probably wasn't that old, but he's old.
No, Shady was the RB1, and for good reason, especially coming out of 2013. He was, 25 years old and just shredded it in Chip's offense. And Drew's dogs, that's awesome. At least they waited till we got on and started recording. That's awesome. Now I'm just sitting here hanging. So we'll go on to the next piece. I don't know how you say his name. Kikaha, the defensive end from New Orleans, finally gets the defensive end tag. We're loving him as a nice sleeper defensive end, and tears his ACL, about 2 hours ago?
Something like that.
So who's next man up? I mean, Bobby Richardson. I mean, what's going on there?
It's probably is Richardson. It'll be it'll probably be Richardson, which that's not that bad. Richardson he was usable last year, and at least now we've got a legit defensive tackle in the middle. Plus Cam's good. He just is. But it's really disheartening because Richardson isn't near the talent level that Kikaha is. Kikaha didn't get near the attention he deserved for what he did as a rookie. And I'm out of breath because I barely stopped screaming but like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty big blow because that defense actually coming along, I mean, okay, we can hack on James Laurinaitis all we want, but that is such a substantial upgrade over what they've had going on in the middle. I guess Stephon Anthony's a stud, and he played in the middle, but that allows him to slide over, and it makes the linebacker core much better. Vaccaro's coming into his own. Rankin's in the middle. You already mentioned Cam Jordan. So losing Kikaha is a pretty big blow for that D that was actually starting to look like it might actually play defense a little.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, our biggest weak spot was going to be Will, and then our depending on if we were running 4-3 or 3-4, which I don't know if it's set in stone either way. It was probably going to be the other defensive tackle because I don't think we're running Jenkins anymore. And I think Williams was our other guy, and he's doo-doo too.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans is such a weird set. They do so many things. There's so many multiple sets, but I would consider their base to be a 4-3. And a lot's going on with Anthony. Stephon Anthony's got this like reduction in value, and it's like a lot lower than it should be because, you know, they're talking about moving him to Sam, and naturally a 4-3 Sam isn't going to eat as much as a 4-3 Mike or a Will. I don't really care about it at all. You know, I've still got him, you know, as a top 12 or 15 linebacker. I think he's still going to get his at Sam. And with the way that they run out all their weird packages, I don't think he's going to be a traditional 4-3 Sam all that much anyway, so I don't really know that it matters. But as a totally random aside, Stephon Anthony's a really good get right now because that market's a little bit depressed on him with the position switch.
Absolutely. I mean, even if he is switched to Sam, even if they played traditional 4-3 every single snap of 2016, which they won't, he's still going to do just fine, and he's not going to be a Sam for the rest of his career. He's just too good. Laurinaitis does not have the length in his career. They moved him to Sam because it's going to be the best for their defense as a whole. I'd rather have Anthony at Sam than Laurinaitis with Anthony in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got to make room for him. Laurinaitis isn't playing out on the outside, so it makes a ton of sense. But as soon as they go into the nickel, boom, he's right back, you know, in the box. As soon as they go to dime, Anthony's probably your dime backer. So he's still going to get his. I don't know if he's going to get 130 or however many tackles he had last year, but I think you can book him for 100.
Yeah,
and potentially some big plays.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, there's one other move that I didn't think to put on the board is the Saints just re-signed Roman Harper. Good old boy. And when I say good old boy, I mean good old boy. But he was from our Super Bowl team, so that was just kind of exciting for me.
God, he looks so freaking old, dude.
Like he was starting to show the wear, like the gray hair and stuff right as he was leaving us. As soon as he hit Carolina, he went full grandpa.
I mean, he looks like an assistant coach that like suited up for the game. You know, they're like, get this guy off the field. What's Gramps doing out here?
And I can only imagine they're bringing him in as like a backup veteran leadership type of thing because we've got Bird, we've got Vaccaro, we just drafted Bell, who I'm going to go spoil a little bit of the extra show, but we're doing a Ohio State linebacker, and Bell kept popping up for me. So I can only assume Harper's going to be there as just veteran leadership. He's not going to see a ton of snaps. So if you guys are thinking about boosting up your rankings, which I don't know why you would anyways, but don't.
Yeah, he's barely worth I don't even know if he's worth a roster spot in one of these NPLB leagues.
No.
But, I mean, he's going to get some time on the field. But, yeah, it's probably more of bring him in to tutor the young guys.
Because a lot of our guys lack just gameplay discipline.
Oh, Vaccaro has none.
I don't expect him to see any difference.
Never has any discipline. Never has had discipline.
Yeah, but I think that's also part of his appeal is he's just a fucking wild man. But I'm talking about just to the defense in general with Bell coming in and with our corners, our number 2 corners, whichever one it may be this year. It'll probably be Bro, but Bro could definitely use some tutoring. But let's go ahead and move on to our college player discussion that we did just tipped. And I'm going to let Tyler take it because, we're doing a defensive guy, so this is his people.
This is my bae. This is Raekwon McMillan, 6'2", 240 at Ohio State, going to be a true junior. He got on my radar last year when we're watching offensive film of other guys. I'm like, who is number 5? That's the guy. Who is that guy? And then when we watch Will Fuller tape, he pops out. When you watch Josh Ferguson tape, he pops out. And, when we were watching Jeremy Langford last year, he pops out. I thought he was the best player on Ohio State this year, and that's with Darren Lee, with Von Bell, even with Bosa. I mean, he makes Perry look like a total hack. McMillan, natural, smooth. Not the best coverage backer. He's a little bit better. They don't play a lot of man, but he's a little bit better in man than in zone. He tends to get a little bit lost in zone coverage, but he closes so fast that I'm not sure that it really matters. I mean, the dude closes like a missile. I don't know what he runs, but it's fast. Not the best form tackler. Not good at all in the trash, like up the middle. When he gets caught up with blockers, they're going to eat him alive. He's not great at stacking and shedding. And consequently, he tends to take some bad angles because he likes to run around blocks a little bit. But he's so fast that he can take those bad angles, a la Ryan Shazier. Take the bad angle, loop the block, and still make the play from the backside, run it down, things like that. And in that same vein, he tends to overrun things a little bit as well. But we've got a really, really good linebacker core coming out next year with him, Beckwith, Reuben Foster. I mean, there's some superstars, and he's right at the tip top for me, with Beckwith right now. And he's just a good ball player. I mean, he's got some things he can work on still, but we're talking about a guy who is 2 years removed from high school last year and was one of the top tacklers in the entire country. So, there's a lot of work to be done, but he's still crazy young. And now that linebacker core is going to be all his because Lee and Perry are gone, and this dude's going to eat next year. So I'm all about it. I've been excited about the kid for a minute now. So number 5 at Ohio State, that's my guy.
Hey, I can't believe you actually used the word bay, but if we're going to talk
about my binky.
If we're going to talk about it, Beckwith is definitely mine, and that's homer alert aside, he's the shit as well. And my thought with McMillan is he does a lot of things pretty good, but not one of his skills besides his speed is just above and beyond. And that's probably why I'm going to be lower on him than you are, because nothing particularly jumps out at me. And part of that's going to come from, he played on the same defense as Lee, and Lee's closing speed is even better than McMillan's was. But his is still fairly good. He needs to work on his technique. That plain and simple, because the pure athleticism is absolutely there, and that's why he's good. That's why he's he was Ohio State's leading tackler, and Ohio State's got some of the best defensive prospects in the league. And he's still, out overshadowing him with poor technique. Imagine if they taught him how to tackle properly, or they taught him how to shed a block. A lot of what you're going to be drafting him on is hope. But, I mean, it's kind of what we did with Shazier, 2-3 years ago? Back in 2014, a lot of that was pure athleticism, too. And then when I think about it, Ohio State puts out a lot of athletic linebackers that aren't that good at playing linebacker.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it is today's NFL, too. I mean, what these guys are asked to do, it's not the same as what they used to do. I mean, like a guy like Levon Kirkland, you probably don't remember Levon Kirkland. Levon Kirkland was 300 fucking pounds at middle linebacker, and he was really, really good. Levon Kirkland wouldn't get on the field in today's NFL. So I have to look at these guys that can run and move and stay with backs and wideouts and slot receivers. And, I'm rolling a lot of that into it because that's what keeps you on the field in today's NFL is being able to move. And this dude can do it. And his instincts are fantastic. I mean, he rarely takes a bad step, a false step, even when he's dropping into coverage or when he's attacking the line. It's just his main drawback is being able to punch a blocker. He just doesn't do it very well. When those, the big guys get their hands on him, they swallow him up. And that's something that absolutely he has to fix. But I got every reason to think he will. I mean, it's 240 pounds. Yeah, no.
I'll be really interested to watch how he develops this year. And I like that you brought up his first step, because I think that it helped me put into words one of the other things I was thinking is he seems to have really, really good instincts. But when he hits that second step, he starts getting indecisive and he starts outthinking himself. And I think that's, especially in coverage, that's one of the biggest things that hurts him. Mm-hmm. He'll take that that first step quick without a second thought, and then you can see him pause for even a half second. But when you're playing against these stronger players, that's all they need.
Yeah, especially in zone.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy in his primary zone gets over the top of him, he starts looking a little confused, which is that's hard. I mean, that is really difficult to do. Not many guys are great at it, but he gets really confused when they get behind him. So, there's just a lot to like about this guy. When the gap is there on the run play, when he gets into the right gap, that play's dead. And he's going to blow it up in the hole. But when he hits the wrong gap because he's avoiding blockers, they're going to run right by him.
Yeah, he's borderline out of the play.
Right, the play's already 5 yards downfield. But I'm all about him. He's not a Miles Jack or Jalen Smith caliber linebacker for me right now. But if he was in this year's class, he'd be right there with Darren Lee for me. I think he's a better linebacker than Darren Lee, who is easily my number 3 out of this bunch. So, I'm pretty excited about him.
Yeah, I don't have Lee as my 3, but I have to agree that he would be my 3 in this class over Deion Jones, who I'm fairly positive is my 3. I can't think of who else it would be because I know it's not.
There isn't anybody else. there are 4 linebackers for me in this class, and I like a bunch of guys after the top 4, but it gets kind of ugly.
To be honest, I think I might have Vigil as my number 4 linebacker. To be honest, yeah, I know it's crazy, but I mean, I had him highly ranked, assuming he was going to be a day 3 pick, and then he goes in day 2, and I mean, I had to straight up replace the pants I was wearing. But from that, we'll move on. We'll hit up our submitted questions, and some of them are a little sillier than we're used to, but I figure we kind of need we can always use a fun, silly episode that's not super in depth. And I'd like to get us started on like more prospect breakdowns, but part of the problem is right now that Draft Breakdown just doesn't have the amount of tape to go in depth on the number of guys we want to do. So we're not doing any favors for ourselves by rushing into next year's class, because by the preseason we're not going to have anybody to watch. So with that, we'll hit up our submitted questions. And our first one comes from @BreezeIDP. You guys all know Breeze. By the way, you need to check it out. He just put up his first article up on RotoViz. Roto World. Excuse me. But he's going to be doing a lot of work with the defensive depth charts over there, and I can't think of anybody better to do it. He pays more attention to it than anybody I know. So I'm pretty stoked for him. You guys should all go give it a look. And if you're not following him, I mean, he's got good football information once in a while, but mostly he's just hilarious to follow. But his question is, better Dino bench wide receiver, Conley or Smelter? And for me, it's super close. It was super close for me last year, but I'm going to give the edge to Conley just because we've seen something from Conley. We know he can do anything. But Smelter obviously has the higher upside. He's going to be in a Chip Kelly system, which, as much shit as Kelly gets, he's produced some really good offensive results every season he's been in the NFL. But I'm taking, and plus Conley's going to be in the Kansas City system where his upside's going to be limited, especially with Macklin there.
Yeah, these two guys were, really, really, really close. It seemed like last year you get to about 210, was it?
Yeah.
You're like Conley or Smelter. I went Conley almost every time. I'm going Conley again today. Smelter's got a lot going for him, but he hadn't played a down of football in quite some time.
Yeah. He went out in the middle of the 14 season, didn't
right. It's been a while, and the word out of OTAs is he's still not up and going. So, yes, he is massive. This is a giant human being. I think he has 11-inch hands.
Dude, his metrics all over the board are psychotic.
Yeah. So, we're cooking a lot in there, but I'm still going Conley. Conley absolutely tore it up in the pre-draft workouts. Just freaky speed. Displayed pretty good hands. There was a lot going there, and we're talking about guys that amongst ADP, we're probably talking wide receiver 50-ish for either of them, maybe deeper than that. So give me the guy that's actually been on the field and will be on the field this year in Conley, and I'll get Smelter around later or whatever.
Yeah, I think I went Smelter just about every time at that 210-ish spot, but right now I'd give a late second out of this class for either one of them.
There's just fair.
It's a doo-doo ass class anyways, so why not go get a guy that's got higher upside?
Doo-doo ass.
Doo-doo. I'm either taking them or I'm taking Mike Thomas, a 6th-round wide receiver. And as much as I like him, why take him when I can take a 3rd-round wide receiver?
Yeah, I ran into that so much this year. I'm just like, I just absolutely fucking refuse to take a day 3 guy in the top 15. I just couldn't do it. Consequently, I have a lot of Kenyon Drake.
And a lot of Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Who was a day 3 guy.
But I love Stephon Diggs. I don't love Mike Thomas. I don't love Demarcus Robinson. There are a lot of those day 3 guys that I'm like, they're okay. But I didn't have full-on man crush on them like I did on Diggs.
If Mike Thomas had gone to the Combine, he'd have been a day 3 pick. I can say that pretty confidently.
Well, we'll never know.
A day 2 pick, excuse me. He'd been a round 3 pick.
Hey, I drafted him in a couple spots.
I'm surprised I didn't get him in as many spots as I wanted to, but
it's hard. It's hard to pull that trigger at like 203. You're just like, whew.
No, see, the problem is people are taking him ahead of me. Like Dylan.
I'm going the 1st round, man. Come on.
I did too. I just finished the draft not but 2 days ago where he went in 112, and the comment, well, all of this guy's comments were "fuck yeah" on every pick, which I admire.
Guys, I love it.
I admire the excitement, but I don't think you can post that about like a 4th round pick. Let's tone it down a little. I feel like my comments on a 4th round pick are going to be, why not?
Meh.
I guess I might as well. But we'll hit up our next question from Breeze, and it says, also, the great debate, Cheetos, crunchy or poofs? And in the chat, he's been calling them cheesy poofs. Obviously.
That's what they are.
I mean, showing them for South Park, but you can't have crunchy cheesy poofs. That's contrary to the name. Cheesy poofs are going to be the poof type. But I think the easy answer is I'm going crunchy because I can fit way more of them in my mouth at one time.
It's all about efficiency.
Exactly.
I like the poofs, man. I like the poofs. Nah, I got nothing against a crunchy Cheeto. Nothing at all. But give me the cheesy poofs.
You see, and I'm kind of exact opposite, where I would have said I'll definitely knock out some poofy Cheetos, but give me the crunchy ones just because you get more flavor out of them, and you don't just have all this air that dries out your mouth, and you got cheese cheese in quotes, like dunking up all up in the corners of your mouth for 3 days. Doesn't matter how much water you drink.
There's nothing you can do.
Which, I mean, cheese aftertaste isn't the worst thing in the world.
No, I suppose not. All right, let's move on. Our buddy at 14 Team Mocker. Which highly drafted tight end from 2013 to 2015 about to get a shot do we like? The names are Amaro, CJ Fedorowicz, Vance McDonald, Jeff Hireman, and then Crockett Gilmore / Max Williams. Every fiber of my being wants to say Jace Amaro. It's either now or never, right? If it doesn't happen this year, it's never going to happen. He's still on all my rosters. I am not dropping him, period. I'm not doing it. Not yet. Talk to me in week 5. I think Hireman is the one that intrigues me the most because what do they really have going on at tight end in Denver? Virgil Green, that's never happening, guys. Virgil Green, it's not. It just isn't.
They still got Vernon Davis.
Do they?
I think so.
Is OD still there?
He's like, 33 or something?
Vernon Davis, yeah. Vernon Davis washed. I think Owen Daniels might still be there, but I don't really care.
I don't think so.
All these guys are probably going to be similarly priced. Hireman's the guy that I'm most curious about. Vance McDonald is getting no attention. I just pulled him off waivers in the league that you and I are in this week. We have a contending team, and I might get a few starts at him this year. You never know. As far as Baltimore with Crockett and Max and Ben Watson and
Darren Waller,
and evidently Dennis Pitta isn't dead.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
He's not dead. That's so murky. Max is the guy you want, right? He's the youngest. He's the one with the best pedigree. And he's cheap as hell right now, and he should be cheap as hell, right? I mean, there's so much going on there. Who do you want? How do you even know who you want?
You want the guy that got drafted in the second round and didn't even have his elite quarterback there to help him produce. I mean, Joe Flacco died, and God forbid your stats are low when Ryan fucking Mallett's starting. Who else did they bring in?
Ryan Mallett started again. Matt Schaub started again.
Matt Schaub was the one I was looking for.
What the hell? How did that even come to be?
Like, if you're not producing with those two, I really don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But Max Williams is the easy pick there for me because, he was drafted. He was drafted as a second-round pick last year.
Yeah.
He's a tight end. They take a couple of years.
But they have so many.
Amara's going to be the next guy that is on my list to pick up. And I don't care that they have so many tight ends, but so many of them are so. And Ben Watson did well in New Orleans last year, and part of that's the fact that he was in New Orleans. Secondly, he's a bazillion years old. I mean, he's been around long enough that he already retired as the player association president, whatever the hell you call it. But it's Williams and then it's everybody else. And this is coming from probably the Darren Waller fanboy spokesperson that out of anybody.
Yeah, I've had to cut Darren Waller.
I refuse
in
to.
Multiple spots. I've had to. I don't have a choice. I'm in a couple leagues where it's like 45-man rosters with full IDP. Darren Waller can't stick around on those teams for me, and I don't want to, but I had to. What about Fedorowicz? I wish I could fit a Met in there, like Fedora Mets. Does that work?
I don't think so. Medorowicz?
Fedora, if you're doing a startup and you get to like round 26, you're like, shit, I only have one tight end. I grab Fedorowicz and see what happens.
No, if you're grabbing Fedorowicz as your meh anything, you've already made a mistake.
Yeah, it's already
you're already way too far down the rabbit hole.
Fedorowicz is, he's been passed around in some of my leagues where like 11 out of 12 teams have owned CJ Fedorowicz in the last 2 years.
He was a thing for like 5 minutes, as during the during the offseason, his rookie year, because Houston doesn't have a tight end.
They still don't. They don't have anybody.
Didn't they? I think they just drafted somebody.
Did they?
They might have.
Well, they drafted the wideouts, but I don't know. I think Ryan Grant left, or Garrett Graham, or they're the same person.
Ryan Grant. A wide
I know who you're talking about. Ryan Griffin. I don't know. I don't care.
I don't either.
It's Jason Morrow time. Period.
I've still got him on a ton of rosters too, and that's all your fault.
Like 85% of my rosters have Jason Morrow.
It's all right. I'll go down with the ship with you on that one. But let's move on to our next question. Comes from @AdamTZ, our buddy Sticky, who is doing killer work over at DLF. His question is 2017 firsts. Name a running back and a wide receiver you would straight up give for a 100% random 17 first. I want to point out, first of all, this was a terribly worded question because in a heartbeat, I would give up Quentin Patton for a random 17 first. I'm willing to make that risk. But the best wide receiver, Jarvis Landry, maybe.
Yeah, well, this is going to approach hot take territory for us because we've got to find guys that are valued somewhat highly.
Well, that and Landry for me is, I feel like the fall is coming. Yeah, there's so many, like, I tend to, blow off efficiency metrics all the time. But when every single efficiency metric say you're not that good, you're probably not that good.
Yeah, if you see even a mild decrease in targets, it's all over.
Plus, they brought in Carew. They paid a lot for Carew. That's got to be somewhat damning.
I kind of like Caru's landing spot in that it's made him a little bit cheaper.
Not a lot cheaper.
Well, I mean, if he had gone to a good spot, yeah, he probably is like a 105, 106 type pick. And he's rarely getting out of the first round, but it's always like 111, 110, 112. So I kind of like that. My wideout, Mike Floyd. It's time to move on.
You whore!
It is time to move on. The dude, he's going to be 27
this
really? Season. Yes. He still hasn't put it together, man. He had a few good stretches in a really nice stretch at the end of 2013. He started off 2014 pretty well. Other than that, he's just been all over the map. And I love Mike Floyd. Absolutely love the guy. But if I can cash out for a 17 first round now, I'm out.
Yeah, and if we're moving on to running backs, let's see. Anybody outside of like my top 6 is probably doing it. My top 6 is, Bell, Gurley, Zeke, David, Hyde, Miller. Maybe 7 if you include Yeldon. But after that, I'll absolutely give any of them for a first.
I wrote a name down that's gonna burn some shit. Doug Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a random first for Doug Martin. I'm gone. I do not trust this cat at all.
Fuck him. Absolutely.
I'm gone. And a lot of people, and I get it. A lot of people say, well, he's a top 5 dyno RB. And I get it. And I get why. And I understand why. I do. But I'm out. I don't want anything to do with him.
To me, the people that are saying he's a top 5 dyno RB are the people that, after his sophomore season, when he completely let everyone down, kept saying, well, he should still be a top dynasty RB. And they kept saying it, and they kept saying it. Eventually it happened, so now they're, hitching their buggy to it and taking it to the store. When, no. You look at his rookie season. His rookie season was just, the numbers were not repeatable. We knew that, but we drafted him on hope because fucking who else are you going to draft after Trent Richardson? Which, oops. You had David Wilson going a couple rounds later, but if you're taking a young running back, those were your options pretty much.
R.I.P. David Wilson.
Oh, God. I feel like I bring him up once a month, and every time I have to go pour one out for him.
He was fun to watch, wasn't
he? He was. Too bad Coughlin never let us watch him.
Asshole.
Greedy old prick.
Yeah. All right. I think we hit that one pretty good. Got a few hot takes off. Next question from @MarkHill321. S'mores Oreos, thumbs up or thumbs down? Now, Drew and I have been eating healthier. I'm trying to live a little bit longer. But I have gotten into the s'mores Oreos, and they are choice. They're good. That's not 2 thumbs up. That's like 5 thumbs up. A very excellent limited edition Oreo.
They are the second best limited edition Oreo I have had, with the first being the Reese's Oreo. And I'm probably putting the Reese's Oreo over the double stuffed Oreos. And I love me some double stuffed Oreos.
Wow.
But
hard to beat the OG, man.
It really is. But I mean, the only problem I have with the Reese's Oreos is they take longer to soak up the milk and get soft. It's more time consuming. But other than that, it's the flavor is you can't beat it. And with that, we'll move on from some silliness and back to some nonsense. @BMats08, our buddy Bruce sends us thoughts on UFC 200. Well, my first thought is, and then my second thought is, I really don't care. I mean, yeah, Brock Lesnar's coming back. I don't care. He looks like the fucking guy from Rocky 3, the Russian. That's who he reminds me of. Just this big, square-headed idiot motherfucker. And I don't care. I mean, I don't care about UFC anyways. I was one of the few guys in the Marine Corps that didn't lose their shit every time a big UFC fight was going to be on. I just don't care. I really don't. It's like wrestling with more bleeding and, real people getting hurt. But I still don't care.
I used to be into UFC. And at UFC, I was more into Pride. The Pride FC in Japan, where they were allowed to waffle stomp dudes in the face and shit. the problem with UFC for me is to be a real UFC fan costs you thousands and thousands of dollars a year now. Whereas used to, they had a pay-per-view every couple months and you fork over $50, you watch the pay-per-view, move on. Now it's completely saturated and I don't have the funds to do it nor the care to. So my thoughts are meh. I don't care anymore. So sorry, Bruce.
I'm not sorry, Bruce.
Yeah. And then I guess next on the agenda, our buddy Tim at Slimbo737, who is one of our favorite people in the world, and Bruce started jerking each other off in the playbook mentions about pre-workout drinks and deadlifts and squat thrusts and whatever the hell else they're always talking about. And it just went completely off the rails. And I just want to say I don't really give a shit.
And I'm actually going to answer two of their questions. The no explode flavor. What is my favorite no explode flavor? It has to be blue raspberry because it's the only one that's even drinkable. The rest of them are complete trash. But then the bigger question was, what's your favorite pre-workout in general? And mine definitely would have to be the old Jack 3D mix before they had to change it because it had illegal substances in it. Whatever. People were dying. Well, that's their stupid ass fault. That shit was awesome. But I couldn't tell you anything about pre-workout that's on the market anymore. It's been 4 or 5 years since I've gone to the gym with the intention of getting jacked.
Get yoked.
I don't give a shit anymore. Our next
These
question.
Dudes, they always want to talk about lifting. That's all they want to talk about.
It's so dumb. I don't care. Even when I was doing it, I didn't want to talk about it unless I was there doing it. Fucking dumb. But our next question comes from @TimNFL, also known as, quote, Better Tim. What gets you out of bed in the morning? And I feel like the answer to that is pretty simple for me. I have to pee. That's because I don't have like real responsibilities. You know, even when I was doing classes last semester, you know, I didn't have class till like 10:30 or whatever. So I got out of bed because I had to pee. Or I'm super hungry, but normally peeing comes first. That's about it. And Tyler's rolling his eyes and fucking grumbling.
I didn't have to get out of bed till 10 o'clock. You know, what gets me out of bed? Nothing fun, man. You know, it's just what you do. I get up so I can go to work and pay the freaking bills, right? On the day off, what gets me out of bed?
Nintendo.
Yeah, I do like to sit there and play the Nintendo. I may or may not partake in a little sticky icky first thing in the morning. It's fun to get out of bed and get that going. This is a professional podcast, isn't it? But yeah, on my day off, yeah, that's what'll get me going more than anything. Either that or also the nicotine fast. After having been asleep for 7 or 8 hours, you know, I need a freaking cigarette. So I pretty much wake up to smoke stuff. How about that?
It's pretty fair. Oh god, I'm glad I finally quit that. I was doing that for years.
So bad for you.
Dude, it used to be the worst. The barracks we used to live in, the second barrack to live in. The first one was indoors, which was the worst because it meant I had to go on a fucking 2 long mile stretch to get outside and go stand in the smoke pit to smoke. But even when we had ones outdoors, we had like balconies and shit, like walkways, and they weren't supposed to smoke on them. But like, fuck it, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have to go run in like a half an hour. I'm gonna smoke right here. And yeah, I get caught every once in a while, and they make me go pick up cigarette butts outside that are probably mine anyways. But still,
small price to pay.
It really is, dude. I'm glad I don't have to do that shit anymore. Like once I was fucking like living on my own and shit, I had the Marine Corps, and I could just go outside and fucking smoke on my balcony. That was awesome. But now I don't have to do any of that. Now I can just sit in my house and vape, and I'm waiting for the people who listen to this who want to make fun of me for vaping, but help me quit smoking, so it's awesome. But it gives Tyler ulcers in his mouth, like when he gets the herpes. So
bad. I tried to quit smoking via vaping, and it did not happen.
All right, we'll hit up Tim's second question. What tips would you give someone who's just diving into IDP? Don't pick up an orphan. Do an IDP startup. Draft it mostly like you're drafting an offensive startup. Go after the guys you'd normally go after. Don't spend anything on IDP. Get them in the late rounds enough to fill your roster, enough to fill your starting lineup, and play a season. Learn some shit through IDP just by trial by fire. So once the rookie draft rolls around next season, or you learn through waivers, you'll have a good idea of what you're dealing with, especially when it comes to your league scoring in particular, your league starting lineup in particular.
Yeah, just jump right in. Both feet first. Don't jump into an IDP light where you're getting 1 point per solo and starting one linebacker and one defensive back. Don't do that. You won't like it. It doesn't have enough impact on the game. Know your depth charts. Learn the depth charts. Know them like the back of your hand. It's not hard. Just look at them. Know who the second string linebackers are. Know who the backup strong safety is, not the backup free. Know where these guys are going. Know the schemes. Know your scoring, whether like rush backers are important or completely void of value. Know if you're tackle heavy, and know if J.J. Watt is going to average 12, 14 points a game. You don't want to screw with defensive ends very much anyway. So you got to know that and ask questions. The IDP community is growing, and there are a lot of guys who specialize in IDP, and we know these guys personally, and they're all really cool guys. Breeze and Ollinger and Waremski and Eric Coleman and Joe Redeman. And, the list goes on, but these guys will answer any question you have for them every single time. There's nobody that's going to big time you, and not help you out, because, the IDP guys, it's a weird little subset of Dynasty Twitter, but they're all good guys and they have a passion for a part of the game that isn't mainstream yet. And we want to see it grow.
It's very similar to the 2QB side of Dynasty, where it's a bunch of tight-knit guys. Like all the guys over at 2QBs.com, you can bombard them questions whenever you want. Friggin' Josh Lake especially, we've been hanging out with him for years now. And every day I see him arguing with different people about 2QB. And not arguing like I'm right, you're wrong, just healthy debate, and that's the best way to learn, is not just have somebody tell you, it helps you figure out where you stand on different stuff, whether you care more about age in 2QB or not, or in IDP, whether you're willing to take a chance more on older guys because the positions are more replaceable. And, Tyler kind of brought it up indirectly earlier, but a couple of steadfast rules: don't draft free safeties, don't draft defensive tackles unless they're Aaron Donald, don't draft any Sam linebacker
unless it's Anthony.
Correct. Sorry, I forget about these exceptions. But other than that, just about everybody else is for game. You take the backup strong safety before you take the starting free safety in most offenses. But other than that, a lot of it depends on player evals. Go watch it. A great place to start if you're going to scout is go watch Matt Waldman's the rookie scouting portfolio. What he does like scouting videos, and he does a lot of them with defensive players. He's done them since like 2014. I know, at least with like Shazier in them. And learn what to look for in defensive scouting. Start watching guys and figuring out what you care about in terms of, these players. It's a good place to start.
So many guys and so many good resources. And like the Orange Report that Ghost puts out every year, the Orange Report is chock full of IDP guys, and Ghost knows what's going on. He's had some big hits over the years of guys that were completely off the radar. So, there's just so many guys. Doug Green and B and our buddy Adam Sticky's a damn good IDP guy. I'm leaving a bunch of names out here, but it's so many guys. And, find the guys that you trust and look at their rankings. The rankings in the IDP world have changed a ton in the last few years. A ton. It used to be just plug in, name brand A all the way 1 through 12 and then just throw darts from there. That's not happening anymore. Guys are really paying attention. It's grown a shitload. I bet 1 out of 100 leagues were IDP 3 years ago. And I bet that number is a lot closer to 25 or 30 now. So the scope of knowledge has increased a ton over the last few years, and it's getting better. And there are more guys popping up that know what's going on, and it's just it's growing, it's booming. So get on it now.
Yeah, and Tyler doesn't like to toot his own horn a lot, but he's also got some pretty awesome hits to his name too. I remember 2014, him going out there and taking Telvin Smith super late. Chris Borland, who had he not retired, he'd be an LB1 right now. Hit on him super late. Keenan Robinson is gonna come back and be useful. He was a fucking gangster after his 2014 season. C.O. Moore, who we saw excellent things from in 2014, and then he died in 2015, but I'm still holding out hope. And then last year, he's got guys like Jordan Hicks. You know who else is drafting Jordan Hicks? Fucking nobody.
It's a little slight bit of University of Texas bias there. Just a little. That's a hit with an asterisk.
Whatever. Still a hit. I mean, I didn't hit on OBJ, and he's an LSU guy. But I mean, I guess that's in the same vein as. That's not even the same vein as me hitting on Jamie Collins, because Jamie Collins is a fucking second-round draft pick. What was Hicks? He's a day 3 pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he went mid-third. He went a lot higher than we thought he was going to.
That's right. I remember talking about him pre-draft.
I mean, when he got drafted, I was like, oh, shit. I was not expecting him to go in the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's pretty awesome. I was stoked because he had a bumpy ride at UT with all the injuries, man. Had a bumpy ride. So to see him go in the 3rd round, I was pretty stoked. Yeah,
there was a couple of guys that came out that class that dealt with a lot of injuries from UT. I remember Malcolm Brown. We thought he might have been a thing for like 5 minutes, and then he ended up on the same roster as Todd Gurley.
I got to think he gets out of St. Louis at some point and maybe resurfaces somewhere.
You know where I could see him? I could see him showing up in New England.
Yeah, but it's Lasco time.
Lasco's in New Orleans.
Oh, you said, oh, God, I'm stupid.
No, New England, especially once Blunt leaves, which he'll eventually leave.
I just thought of something awesome. It's not appropriate. Move on.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
All right. Next question from our buddy at Empire FFL. Another Oreo question. We are like the Oreo gurus, huh? I like that.
I feel like that's kind of our tagline.
Yeah, best use of Oreo as an ingredient: pie, ice cream, cupcake, etc. It's ice cream, man. I mean, some Bluebell cookies and cream, hook it up. It's as good as it gets. Or like a Oreo Blizzard, something like that. That's where Oreo shines, is in ice cream.
I think I'm going to disagree with you here.
What?
Dude, Oreo pie is the shit.
Oh, it's good.
I'll fucking murder some Oreo pie. And I'm not trying to hate on Oreo ice cream in the least. But Oreo pie is fucking... That shit's the tits, man.
It is good.
Oh, man.
It is good. My grandma used to make an Oreo pie that was just knock your socks off. God rest her soul. She was a keeper.
All right, let's hit up our last question from at RavageFF Pat, who occasionally has interesting things to say. ASJ dead ? And we're getting this like 3 hours after ASJ is kicked off the practice field and starts tweeting weird shit, and everybody says, "Oh, he's getting traded, he's getting cut." It's probably nothing. It's legitimately probably nothing. Tyler likes to hate on ASJ, but he's played 12 games, or 16 games out of his entire career, which is 2 years, so he's played half his career. Oh, well. The upside is legit, top half of QB1 or top half of tight end 1 rankings. I'm still holding on to him. Cameron Brate is not a thing. It's not going to be a thing. Just calm down. Let's all keep it in our pants.
I don't know. The upside is legit. The metric profile is disgusting.
It's Gronk level.
That's like his literally his only metric comp when he was coming out was Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
But come on.
No, you shut that mouth.
I just say, what did he have last year? A shoulder injury?
I don't remember.
You fucking cowboy up and you get your ass on the field. And he kept saying, well, and I remember specifically reading, he's saying, well, I'm only at like 85%, and I'm not playing until I'm 100. Fuck you. I'm so over this clown. I am so over him, dude. I guarantee you there isn't a tough bone in his body. And
he's smart, and he thinks we're not winning shit this season anyways.
So let me not be there for my team, and more importantly, my fantasy owners.
Yeah, because he gives a fucking shit about what any of us think. He's not turning over in bed like, oh man, I wonder what Tyler and Drew are thinking.
I'm gonna have to start CJ Fedorowicz this week because ASJ won't play.
I'm sure he doesn't care that you're starting CJ Fedorowicz.
I'm over the dude. I'm over it, man. Now, let's say like a startup scenario, if I can get him like tied in 14 or 15, hell yeah, I'm gonna take him. There is no way that I'm gonna stick my neck out on this guy. Not anymore. I've got him in a couple spots. I wished I didn't because I just don't think it's happening. I think he is a mental midget.
I don't like you.
That's okay. We've never, we get along, kinda. But deep down, I will.
He's breaking up. He can't tell us what he thinks. Deep down, what do you feel, Tyler?
I said I will scissor kick you.
You ain't scissor kicking shit, old man. I bet you couldn't do any sort of jump kick where you had to come off the other foot to swing.
Hey, 17 years ago, dude, I could get around.
Cool. That's awesome. But you know what? It's not 17 years ago right now.
So here's how it would go. We'd line up to fight, and I'd get winded, and you'd sprain your back, and then we'd go get, a Coke and some ice cream and watch TV.
Play some Nintendo.
There you
awesome.
go. There you
but
go.
You know what? If we're going back 17 years, guess what? I still win. Because if you scissor kick me, you're going to jail. Because I'm a minor. I'm like 9. And if you're scissor kicking 9-year-olds, you go to jail.
Oh, man, we got a bunch of questions in while we were recording.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, Danny Tage asked us if anyone's worth an ad with Kikaha going down. I guess Bobby Richardson.
Yeah, kind of. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're adding them for a little bit of short-term relief for this year, but otherwise, meh.
Yeah, and then Crabman asked us a question about Zelda. I never played Zelda, so I don't care.
You're the worst. Crabman wants to know better Nintendo Zelda, A Link to the Past, or Ocarina of Time. And it's got to be Ocarina of Time. That shit set the standard for 3D games, especially with Nintendo. Better story, better everything.
Never played 1 second of Zelda in my life.
You need to. You really need to. I mean, I can't express how much you need to.
But I mean, I call it all Nintendo just because I'm an old man. But I haven't owned a Nintendo since like the first generation of Nintendos. I always went to like Sega or, then obviously went to PlayStation. I've never really been a Nintendo person.
You need to be a Nintendo person for a little bit. Play some. It's awesome. And we got a question from somebody earlier that we didn't get a chance to answer. And what is the correct number of indoor hats? And really, I want to bring this up because I'm excited. Many months ago, back during the winter months, I lost my favorite beanie. I think I left it in the seat at a restaurant, and it just happened to be the same situation where I tipped super shitty because she was an angry little bitch, and fuck you. And so when I came back to see if they had my hat, they didn't have my hat, so I assumed she just threw it out because fuck me. But I finally found after months and months the exact same hat, and I ordered it, and I got it in today, and I cannot be happier. I'm so happy. Like, losing your favorite hat is like top 10 in worst things that can happen to you. And like death is in that list somewhere.
Yeah, a good hat that's nice and seasoned. It's like your smoker. Your smoker's not really doing good until you've had it a few years. You got to get that hat broken and seasoned.
Dude, see, and this didn't even have to be broken. It just straight off the rack, it fits so perfectly. Couldn't beat it. I've tried buying other beanies. I've got probably 4 or 5 other beanies, and none of them matched up.
Yeah.
I found this bitch on eBay for $20, brand new. Snagged that bitch up in a second.
Love it. Got to have a strong indoor hat game.
I think I've got probably 14, 15 indoor hats.
All of my hats are,
Indoor hats.
Multifunctional.
Yeah. Essentially, I have 14 or 15 hats.
Yeah, other than my work hats, man, those things reek because it's hot and I sweat a lot. So I don't even bring them in the house, man.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I have like all my old like Marine Corps hats and shit, and like the one in the background. None of those are indoor hats because by regulation you can't wear them inside. So none of those are indoor hats. But other than that, all my hats are indoor hats.
So Dynasty Playbook, we're experts on Oreos and indoor hats.
I mean,
and we also talk about football. Kind of.
Oh, and then Bruce wants to know fitted or snapback indoor hats. It's fitted.
A snapback?
I don't know. I think it's one of the ones with the flat bill that looks stupid, and the ones
flat bill? No, I'm good.
Yeah, I got way too much self-respect for that kind of shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I just whatever. I don't really pay attention. I don't do the mesh trucker hat thing.
Mm-mm.
I don't do the flat bill. Other than that, I'm pretty open.
Yeah. Give me a nice fitted hat that I can curve the brim on, and I'm happy. It's about all I need in life. That and, Coke, and that's about it. And I nap. I can always go for a nap. And we have friends in our Voxer group who don't like naps, and I wish I could remember off the top of my head which one it is besides Tim. Besides Tim, because there's another one.
How?
How do you hate naps? That's like, I hate freedom. Who the fuck hates a nap?
Like, I am anti-roller coasters.
I actually hate roller coasters. But I hate roller coasters because I get off of them and I puke every single time. And I am definitely anti-puking. That's not fun for me.
Fair enough.
So, should we finish this up with like a fantasy football thought or something?
If you have one, fire away.
Oh, here's one. So I put out my 2 QB rankings up on the Fake Pigskin yesterday. So I decided I'm gonna have a thought from that. I ranked Joe Flacco over Ben Roethlisberger. What are your thoughts on that?
Whatever.
Yeah. Way to contribute to the conversation.
I don't know. Mocker has brought me around this. I'm kind of into Joe Flacco.
I am too.
And in fact, I've done 2 startups recently where I've grabbed him as my QB2 in like the 20s. So I can dig it. It's the Tressman effect, right?
Oh, it's more so that I was thinking more so it's hotter take because of how low I have Ben.
Well, Ben is getting up there and is, goddamn, he may not miss a ton of time, but that dude is always getting beat up.
I don't think he's played a full season in a hot minute.
Always getting beat up. So, I mean, I get it. I don't think I could do it myself, but I get it.
I mean, they're close. They're in the same tier for me, but it's just I'd rather take the guy that's going to start. I'm going to get 3 more years out of him probably because Joe Flacco and Ben are both going to play until they can't play anymore. They both passed that line of demarcation that they're just going to start until they can't start anymore.
Yeah, neither of them losing their job
to anybody.
Soon.
Yeah, you can put Phillip Rivers and Eli in that same category, Matt Ryan.
Now you can just toss Eli right out in the garbage.
Dude, you think Eli hasn't been that good, but Eli has been.
I don't care. Eli is a curse on my personal fantasy teams. Fucking curse.
Yeah, he breathes through his mouth and he looks like a mongoloid.
No, this is far deeper than that. This is personal. This goes back to the home league, the 2 QB home league, the redraft league, where Eli has personally boned me 2 or 3 times. I put his ass on waivers in a 2 QB league in 2014. Put him on waivers like
the OBJ season.
In a 2 QB league, you don't put 2 QBs on waivers in 2 QB leagues. I just flat dropped his ass because I couldn't allow him to bring the bad luck to my team anymore. It was karmatic thunder I mean, he just wrecked havoc on my team. It was awful.
I love how much some of us believe in superstition with this game. A game, well, I mean, you have to in a game that's based purely on luck. You have to try and influence that with whatever voodoo shit you can come up with.
Yeah, no Eli for me. None.
With that thought, I'm definitely making a Brashad Perriman voodoo doll.
But see, you're high on Flacco with Brashad Perriman.
Why? He's got Kamar Aiken.
Oh, I love Kamar Aiken. Kamar Aiken.
Got Michael Campanaro.
How much money did Kamar Aiken win last year for people? He won me some dollars.
Many dollars.
Kamar Aiken probably put $300-400 in my pocket last year. Love it.
Yeah, he does. Perriman doesn't have to hit for Flacco to be good. Flacco was still good when Torrey Smith was injured, and they had a worse depth chart then.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Campanaro, they got Waller, they got Williams, they got Watson, they got maybe Pitta. They've got a good running back now. I mean, Kenneth Dixon could lead the team in friggin' receptions. I wouldn't be mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if the running backs caught 120 balls out of that bunch this year.
I mean, Forte caught 100 with Tressman.
Yeah.
100 plus, so why can't Kenneth Dixon do it? He's just as good of a receiver, or close to.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody's going to be on that level of Forte recently, besides maybe Gio.
Yeah, Forte's a different level. Forte's been good for a long time.
Long time.
And now he's about to die.
I'm so sad. So sad. But it means he gets to come home and hang out, so that's
there
cool.
There you go.
Get to see him at the Walmart. But I think that's all we got. Maybe.
Yeah, a little ramble. A lot of rambling.
Cool. So I guess we're going to close it down for the day. I don't know why I sounded so hesitant about that, but I know we got to actually finish this up. For those of y'all don't know, like I said earlier, my 2 QB rankings just went on Fake Pigskin. My 2 QB ADP just went up on 2QBs.com, and it's going to be updated with a third mock draft here in the next day or so. And for all of you who have given us like rankings and reviews lately on iTunes, we really appreciate it. And for any of y'all that haven't done it yet, please, we would really appreciate it if you did. But yeah, besides that, I think that's all we got. You got any last parting shots for us, bud?
Nope. Thanks to the coach.
Of course, as always, he's been hosting us up there for like 6 months now, for forever.
Yeah. Coach is the best. And, Drew's talking about rankings. We've got full rankings across the board at ffcouchcoach.com. We've got offense. We got defense. We got a by position. We got rookies only across the board with some really, really smart guys. And also me.
Do y'all have kicker rankings, though?
We do not. I bet I could get Thor to do kicker rankings for us. Thor's probably into kickers. But yeah, I mean, the site is great. We got just some really cool guys. We've added a few guys lately, and they're churning out tons of articles and good stuff. So big thanks to the coach.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're not following the guys from FFCC, you're missing out. They're interesting.
Yeah, if you're wondering who they are, just go to my Twitter. I've got a list with all of them on there. Subscribe to the list and follow them.
Yeah.
Cool guys and gal. I think we have only one young lady on the FFCC team.
Well, it might be inappropriate, but we have some that you could mistake.
Well, yeah.
I'm probably not supposed to say that anymore. It's probably not correct, but whatever. I don't care. Ryan likes kale.
Yeah, exactly. We all know where this is going.
I'll probably cut this out of the actual podcast.
I gotta think we should probably cut out most of the crap we say. Yeah,
it's gotten kind of silly. But with that, this has been the Dynasty Playbook. I've been your host, Drew. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDoddsonNFL. With me has been my excellent co-host, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBombIDP. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.